So, and this basically what we've been doing, Candace probably gave you the context, but we've had some really good conversations with members that have gone through the cohort. And these conversations have been very enlightening for me, because I think I get so deep in the cohort itself that I never get a chance to really understand what was the impact and what was the outcome, right, of people going through the cohort. I think I might have shared with you one of the people that went through our first cohort. Her name is Maricela. Now I'm pronouncing her name like she's pronounced it, Maricela. But Marcella, she got $2 million in funding to stand up an innovation lab for her nonprofit, which was just nuts. She basically used the exact playbook that she built in the program to get the funding. And I was just like, oh God, like, it's crazy. And so we thought it would be good to go back and just learn a little bit more about different team members that had gone through the program, what the problems they were trying to solve as a result of going through the program, but also learn, what might have come out of the playbook. So maybe starting out, first question is, what was the problem you were dealing with at the time you attended the coaching program?
I approached the coaching program as someone knowledgeable about, what's going on in the industry, and what kind of this, where, out of curiosity, right? Like, so, and then what else is going on? Like, what am I not been exposed to or learned about in terms of innovation? As a topic I was interested in. I was in the midst of taking a class on, strategic innovation. So, and so I approached it a little bit more individually. I wasn't necessarily, there wasn't like a specific problem within my work context that I was like, we need to bring innovation to that. Like, I'm kind of on an innovative team in terms of intelligent automation. So to me, it was more the concepts of what you had talked about. I just knew I wanted to be a part of it. So I brought it, I came to it more as this is something important to me personally, right? Like, I want to know, like, what is the state of the art in terms of innovation, and how are people thinking about it? But it also gave me the opportunity, at least at work, when I had some roundtables with some of the executives, like, Richard Cox, and our new VP of Enterprise Application Services, Fred Anacci, in those roundtables to say, what are we doing from an innovation perspective? Like, what's our plan? Like, how are we being innovative? Like, because we didn't necessarily have a reputation for innovation within our corporate headquarters IT department, which is about printers and paychecks, right? Yeah. So to me, it kind of gave me a sense of confidence that I could, ask that kind of hard question. I'm like, what are we doing innovation wise, like, across the company? Like, we don't really talk about it. We don't really solicit input. We don't, that I was aware of. And the benefit that just asking those questions, was like, well, if you're interested in that, then we need to go talk to the folks doing an M&A, and we need to go talk to the team member experience VP. So yeah, reach out to them. So it gave me license to stick my nose in someone's door, right, in a way, right, to kind of be funny about it, right? To stick my nose and be like, hey, knock, knock, like, hey, what are we doing about innovation? Because here's the kind of things that I'm learning in school, and I'm in this program, and I'd really like to kind of, because I think there's a lot of possibilities here that maybe just haven't been socialized, because maybe just not been exposed to the same kind of thinking or that kind of stuff. So, and as it turns out, we've actually stood up a Tiger team on how to be innovative, and I got invited.
Oh, that's really.
I'm on the team, right? So we had a whole design thinking session around what do we want our innovation strategy to be, right?
Yeah.
So, and I had a seat at the table, and I had a seat at the table because I jumped at the chance to dive into things around innovation, including being a part of the cohort. And yeah, so now I get to participate in it. I get to find the roadmap. Um, we just had our one day session so far, and but it was a human-centered design, like doing all the rose thorns buds and ideation, and then affinity clustering and those kinds of things. And now it's now we're going to get together again next week, and we're going to start talking through more. Okay, what's a low hanging fruit? What things can we start to do? Let's maybe start with some low investment things but high impact. I mean, following the script. So
Yeah.
so it's been really exciting, except for the past 2 months. I'm like, I'm just hanging out. Right.
Hey, I know
But I can get excited about these things.
one of the secret, I'm gonna let you know a secret of something that got me super excited during the coaching cohort you went through. And I remember one of the conversations we had before the program launched. And one of the things I remember, we were working through the clarity worksheet. I think it was
Yeah.
clarity worksheet. And one of the things that you shared was like, what you would really like to see, and I don't think you were saying this as a result of the coaching program, but you had as one of your key goals was to get promoted to the next level.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember we talked through that a little bit. And you have no idea, like when you share with me that you got promoted, like while in the coaching program, I was just like that was more a victory for me. I don't think you realized it, but I was just like, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. And and I think it's interesting because we do talk about the program about, it's not just about learning about design thinking, it's about building the mindset, like being able to operate as an innovation leader.
Yeah.
And maybe just, again, I don't think I definitely don't credit the program with you getting promoted. But I'm curious from your standpoint, like what was that journey like in terms of you going from where you were to getting promoted and feeling like you really were beginning to master what it took to drive innovation and lead innovation?
That's an interesting question. You know, when I moved over from Cox Communications to Cox Enterprises, a year and a half ago, I kind of had that conversation with my boss Monterio, who you met, and I said, I want to I want to drive process excellence and automation into the company, and I want to help develop people to do those kinds of things based on my expertise. So we'd had some conversations around, so I made him aware, and frankly that was something that I I consciously did, because being a services consultant in small companies, it was like we just all kind of worked together, right? There was really no career path. Kind of had to change my thinking, and I didn't really do that when I came to Cox. I was kind of like, I'm just just doing my thing. But so I really made the conscious effort of articulating, like you said, like clarity. Right? This is what I want to do, and and then it was just a matter of continuing to deliver and provide vision around, here's ways we need to think about intelligent automation and process work. And so I kind of primed the pump for when the new year rolled around, and then you got to let the bureaucracy kind of turn. It was, hey, all the things we talked about, man, keep doing it, like keep going, right? And even Richard Cox said to me in a one-on-one, he says, like, don't lose that, like, don't lose that, like, no, there's so much more we can be doing. That the kind of mindset of don't slow down, right? Which when you kind of get into the day to day is easy to forget, right? But it's kind of
Yeah.
nice to have that feedback of we recognize everything you bring to the table, don't
Mm,
stop bringing it
mm,
to the
mm.
table, right? Even if sometimes we get, bogged down in the day to day, right? Sometimes you got to have people like, no, come on, there's more hills to take. So yeah, so I thought that promotion was culmination of a lot of hard work to position myself, make it known that's what I wanted to do. And but getting things like my MBA was, like part and parcel to that, me telling that story about where I wanted to go. So I'm not done yet. This is just step one.
Just jumping off of this stage right now
Yeah.
is
So,
what.
but to put your point about it being an innovation leader, right? I think to me the program was really just around having space to talk about it, right? Like just having the space, so to just enrich myself with the insights and struggles and perspectives of the other people in the cohort, like that was just so valuable, right? Just some of the gems that people came up with, like the lady from GM talking about, here's how we measure it. Like I
Exactly.
brought that into that conversation in with the our internal like innovation tiger team. I'm like, how are we going to measure this? Like, how are we going to know we're successful? Like, what needles are we moving? And they're just like, slow down their text, right? But I mentioned, I'm like, look, I like, if we don't show value here, right, we got to keep our eye on that ball. Like the CFO may be like, okay, that you're doing this stuff for free, but eventually we're going to go have to ask for some money. What's the
Yeah.
return? Like, what's the value we're bringing? Like, can't not think about it. And that's just because I heard, well, I can't remember her name, Jennifer? No.
Jennifer. Yep.
Yeah, from GM, right? From that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Jennifer.
yeah. You know what's interesting is that when we were talking in that Tiger team, like someone brought up like GM's Innovation Center, and I'm like, I might know someone there. I'm like, value brought. I actually know someone in that
The
organization.
connections. Small world.
Yeah, it is a very small world. It's a very
And
small world.
actually, because Brian, probably remember the call we were with Brian, GM got their innovation center, some of the components stood up by IBM. And so Brian there may
Interesting.
be some connecting the dots, like IBM Design, I think
Yeah.
did some work with them too. So
Yeah.
it's really cool.
Yeah.
So,
So,
man,
part of, at least for Cox, right? Like we have a very well-established, robust, well-run, extensive human-centered design practice. I mean, we've trained hundreds and hundreds of people. I'm helping do a 2-hour cohort for 20 people tomorrow, right? On just kind of touching, putting their toe in the water around human-centered design. I get to instruct it, right? So that's it, that's great, but I still think it's that connection between sort of thinking and doing that,
it's
and we got some muscle memory there to develop. I think we're anyway, that's probably going to be where my focus is going to be, talking to Brian, from going from design thinking to design doing.
powerful. So maybe just wrapping up, like, what would you say, looking back at the program, was the biggest result or things that you took away that you felt like, that was the result or outcome around the program for you?
Yeah, I think a few things. One is that I never fail to tell people that state of the art is concept to working prototype in 2 weeks, right? That's the benchmark now. Like that's how we need to be thinking, which is, people look at me like I grew a new head, but I'm like, I don't care, right? So just that thought alone, I think, allows me to have conversations I normally wouldn't. The experience I have with the other folks and their perspective and ideas and experiences that they're going through and their way of thinking about it, I'll never, like I said, I go back and listen to that part where Jennifer was talking about the whole, how do we measure this? Like she just had this like soliloquy of brilliance. So that kind of exposure. And then to me, the ultimate value was, hey, when the time came to stand up an innovation tiger team to say, okay, let's actually be more formal and prescriptive about this, I had a seat at the table. I mean, that's gold to me. Like, that's all I want. Like, I just want to be there at the table to help influence and drive the conversation, and add in the key points I know they need to hear, because some folks have been here a long time. They don't necessarily have that, there's a lot that's going on out in the world that sometimes in our little bubble we don't hear about. So anyway, to me it's been, I can't draw, I can't be like, I took everything I learned in that and I applied it to this business problem and now it's $1 million business, right? Or $10 million business. Like that, I'm not in that kind of, I'm not in a P&L group, like I'm in corporate. So, but to me, the evidence is it gave me the courage to ask hard questions of the right people that got me invited to the right conversations, and it was worth every moment.
I think the thing I realized with the program that gets me most excited, I always get a lot of energy. Like we do a lot of other project work, and I love our project work, like, doing transformation projects. But what I love more than anything is actually working with leaders like you, where it's really about that last sentence you said, like the courage to ask the hard questions, right? Because that's, at the end of the day, that's really the core of innovation. So I appreciate just hearing that. It reminds me like why I even do what I do. So it's really good. Thank you.
You're very welcome. No, thank you. It's been, I wish I'd had more time in the spring to really dig in, but I was so stretched in different plays but I knew I couldn't miss it for the world. So I'm like, I don't care if I'm super busy, I'm in.
I love it, man. It's good stuff.
We got to have like a reunion or something sometime.
We're planning Candace is working on this. It's basically, we're calling it the Innovation Leadership Gathering, something like that.
Okay.
Quarterly Innovation Leadership Gathering. So we're going to be getting invites out. Just bring all the cohort members together.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, yeah. I love that idea. Cool. All right. Well, thank you for your time, man.
Thank you so much.
Great to see you, Candace. We'll see you soon, everyone. Cheers. Bye.